Welcome back, South Africa. And if you were not cooking along with us, then you might have missed the first and second segment of our cook along. But we're now at the third part of it, and we're about to get cooking with our jollof rice. Yes. For all the recipe details, do go on to afternoonexpress.co.za. Chef Nti, we've gone from pap and spinach croquettes. We've done boerewors shakshuka. We are now doing jollof rice.
Yes.
These are three very completely different dishes.
Absolutely.
And the influences are different.
Completely.
Why are we now going, although you said it's Nigerian, I mustn't confuse it with the Congolese,
no.
The Nigerian jollof.
Yes, this is the Nigerian jollof. If you know anything about jollof, you know there's a war between the Ghanaian jollof and the Nigerian, and my verdict is the Nigerian jollof is the one.
Okay.
So I really love West African food. I love how they cook. I mean, when you look at some of the ingredients they use, like now we've got a beautiful tomato, pepper, and onion, same everyday ingredients as we enjoy using in South Africa. The difference with them is they love to build flavor with heat. And in this recipe, we are using habanero chili because it's just a beautiful flavor profile. It's just not heat, but it just rounded in your mouth. So we're gonna make it jollof rice because I love West African food and I never miss out on an opportunity to eat jollof rice every time I go to West Africa.
That's perfect. And if South Africa, you want to get cooking along with us, do make sure you head to afternoonexpress.co.za. We've got all of these details loaded over there for you. So Chef, like you mentioned earlier, we've got the habaneros here, the tomatoes, some onion and some red peppers.
Yes,
what would you like me to do over here?
Okay, so what we're going to do first is just try and treat our sauce and give it a beautiful, smooth consistency. I like to do that even when I make a tomato gravy So we'll take all our beautiful sauce base for our sauce, which is tomato, pepper, the onion, and our habanero chili, toss it into a food processor with a bit of water and blitz that until we get a super smooth consistency.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So is this the base of the actual jollof, or is there something else basically that we need to, is there another sauce, or is this
No, that's it actually. That is the base of it jollof. Kahle mawenza jollof. I love it jollof also because it's one of those you can enjoy without inyama.
Yeah.
You don't really need to have meat accompanying it. And because it's January, it's the perfect recipe to make because chances are maybe, the fridge is freezer is very lonely and has less protein. Because we used up all of it in December, we
were having a chat with some friends about asking this, since we had quite a hectic 2020, are we all still looking to make the same dishes for festive, People were like, no, I'm still gonna make my meat dishes. So this is a perfect one. So if you've used up all those meat dishes like you did, all that meat that you had in your freezer, this is perfect because you're not gonna miss the meat.
At all. And jollof is very, very popular in Africa. So once you have jollof on the menu for your guests, I doubt you'll have people that are not happy. Everyone will be so excited because get jollof, babes.
And I think it's an opportunity to take your taste buds on a journey because we're so used to our dishes in South Africa. It's nice being that we couldn't travel last year. At least your taste buds can travel this year, and hopefully the country opens up and we can do a lot more traveling.
Absolutely. So we've been traveling. We've taken you on a beautiful culinary journey. We went to France with our croquettes, and now we are going to West Africa, and we went to the Mediterranean islands with our shakshuka.
Awesome.
So now I've got my oil and onion in the pan. I just want to saute them just for a little bit. And once they've sauteed about 2 minutes, I'm going to add my tomato paste. I'm using tomato paste just to give my tomato sauce body and a bit of color, that beautiful vibrant color. And you want to use tomato paste, especially if you're using fresh tomatoes like us.
Okay, so if I don't have tomatoes, can I use tomato puree? Would that still be fine?
Oh,
or is it always best to use fresh tomatoes?
Yeah, or tomatoes in a can. And if you're using fresh tomatoes, a tip would be a little bit of sugar. So I would add like a teaspoon of sugar because fresh tomatoes tend to be too acidic. But if you're using can, because then the flavor profile is already built in and you've got all those amazing flavors. So no need for sugar.
Awesome. I think I have another question for you that I like to put people on the spot with this question.
Okay.
You've mentioned a couple of different culinary influences.
Yes.
If there's one dish that you could have for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Something like uputu, nkomasi. That is so easy.
Wow.
Yeah, me, I'm so obsessed with ipap, guys. Ngiyayithanda ipap. I grew up eating ipap. It just feels like a hug. You know, even when it's like a rainy day.
True.
And I've had a long week of work and I'm tired and I feel like a hug. Uputu does it for me.
Awesome. That sounds amazing.
And for you?
I always put people on the spot because I never know the answer to this. Because
Really?
there's so many dishes that I actually do love, Namekai.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I will forever remember, and that's my grandmother's cabbage. She made the best cabbage, and because we were doing those croquettes today, I missed papa and cabbage.
Don't
Simple.
get me started on your cabbage because Nami cabbage was always there on the plate.
Always. And it was always just the best. I don't know how she did it. To this day, I cannot replicate her recipe.
Please get
but
Gogo's
I do know.
recipe. We want it. Gogo's recipe, please. I'm asking for the people.
Okay, cool. Then let me get started with this. I'm going to go blitz this up quickly.
Okay, perfect.
And then we continue with, because you need this for the...
I definitely need it for this baby here.
Awesome. All right, chef, your sauce is done. We've got the tomatoes, habaneros, red pepper, and onion blended up into a nice little smoothie.
I love a good ushatini.
Ushatini puree.
Ushatini puree, yes.
Someone was actually asking me if they could have that shot as well, if it's a nice hangover shot.
Oh, for sure, if you can handle the heat. But the habanero doesn't play, hey?
I can imagine.
It has a kick. So while you were busy turning this into a beautiful, smooth consistency, I added tomato paste.
Okay.
And cooked it out for about 3 minutes. And now we are going to add our bay leaves. I just need about 4 bay leaves. So I'm using all my ingredients to build flavor. And this is how they do it when they make jollof.
And that's one of the few things I think people sometimes forget when cooking. Chucking everything in at once, it strips you of flavor.
Yeah.
Whereas adding the flavors one by one is where you get to actually taste every single element of it. And I've always wanted to try a jollof, so I'm glad this is something I get to see firsthand.
I am glad I'm the one that's giving you that first experience.
Amazing, amazing. Okay,
so now I've got my stock. I've added 1 cube of beef stock, or chicken stock, whatever you want. And now I'm adding my rice. So we are using the sauce to cook our rice. Yeah. Okay, so the jollof is just now ready to cook and come together, all those flavors. I'm gonna play, and in about 40 to 45 minutes, it will be cooked.
I think you're taking me back to another dish that is very similar to this that's called a paella.
Yeah.
And now this is like an African take on it. So now another debate starts. Who started it first? Who did it first? Was it the Spanish? Was it the Portuguese? Was it the Brazilians? Or was
it the North Africans? No, the West Africans.
I wonder, but this looks like it needs some time to cook. How long will you cook this for?
We are definitely cooking it for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to cover it with foil. If your pot has a lid, that is perfect. Okay. Because I want to retain all that steam. So my rice steams and cooks beautifully. Okay.
And I know with the paella, you don't stir it. Is it the same concept with the jollof? Do you stir it throughout or not?
No, absolutely not. In fact, my friend who gave me this recipe says that when you cook it, you want it to burn slightly so it will stick, because remember the starch from the rice. And as it burns slightly, that smokiness will build flavor and add to your flavor. So no stress about stirring or anything like that. You let the steam cook your jollof and let it burn slightly so you get that crust that is flavor.
Awesome stuff. And we've been cooking this one over here for about 35 to 40 minutes, right?
That is ready.
That is ready. I think we need to reveal it so that the viewers can actually see how amazing this has turned out.
It looks, right? So, Dumi, after it cooks for 45 minutes, this is what you want to end up with.
Just
look
the
at
smell.
that.
I think that's the first thing that hit me. That looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely dinner for me tonight.
And you've got all the flavors that you need there. You've got the acidic, you've got the salty, you've got the nutty from the rice, and it's a filling dish because it's a starchy base full of carbs, and it's perfect.
And it's so satisfying. I did not salt though. I don't know if you remember, because I use stock.
Yes,
beef stock.
you are correct.
So you salt as you go,
you
because
might not even need to because of all the flavor.
Wow, delicious.
Okay, I think it's time to dish this baby up because I'm just ready to dig in. Chef, this looks absolutely divine. And I mean, this is basically, I'd say, West Africa on a plate.
Yes, ma'am.
This looks amazing. So we've got all those flavors that have been built, and our chicken. Our rice is nice and firm because we don't want it to be overcooked as well. You want it to still hold its shape, but basically just absorb all those flavors into it.
Yes, ma'am. And nice and sticky.
Nice
so
and sticky.
This is a meal in one. I mean, if you're a vegetarian, this is your vegetarian option. If you like nyama, you can go ahead and add the nyama to it, but no need.
No need, no. I think these are one of those few one-pot wonders where you know you sorted with one dish.
Yeah.
This one-pot wonder is definitely a stunner, and if you want to get your hands on it, make sure you go to afternoonexpress.co.za for the full ingredient list and steps. But we still have one more dish coming up after these.